Hey, so the last one I'm going to do today is something that is near and dear to me, and I'm interested to hear what other people have to say on this topic in their own lives. And it's regarding INTJs, and I'm taking it from a female perspective, obviously. However, that association with potential correlation with anxiety. So I have had issues with anxiety my whole life, and a lot of times for years actually, I would just put it aside and assume that was normal. It was part of every day, and it wasn't until people started pointing out the anxious behaviors and myself having panic attacks. And for anyone who's had them, they're not fun. They're not fun at all. They feel like a heart attack. And the difficult part of being able to make yourself vulnerable enough to own the fact that that is something that is part of your life. It's not normal. It's part of what is my makeup. So, again, I'm interested to hear what other people have to say. For myself, with anxiety, one thing I've noticed is that there's two things. The amount of pressure that I place on myself, the enthusiasm about starting a new project or it doesn't matter if it's at work or at home or whatever, and all of a sudden putting down on the list all the things to make that project happen. And the wheels start spinning in my head, and then I get that overwhelming weight, I guess, of trying to conceptualize how this is all going to be rolled out in order to actually make this happen. And I find that for myself, the details that come with making something, a creation of anything, it's very difficult to navigate. So it's difficult from what we understand, I guess, with INTJs. INTJs, we're doers. We execute on what we have envisioned. And I think the difficult part for myself is that you are putting in all those ideas and you want to do all of them at the same time. You have so many different ideas. If you don't have ideas, for myself anyways, I feel dead, burnt out. So you want to keep going with the ideas, but the huge weight of the tactical things that have to be put in place in order to execute is daunting. And I find that that's when I start getting acute anxiety. So we've talked about how the extroverted sensing function comes up when INTJs are getting to a point where they're stressed or similar type of situation. That piece is similar to what is happening when the anxiety, I feel, kicks in. So it becomes the everyday tasks that have to be done, and you start putting so much pressure on yourself to deal with those tasks when that's not your strong suit, and you have no one to blame but yourself because you did it to yourself. Your ideas are your ideas. But with INTJs and the need to actually follow through on your ideas, it puts you, for myself, in a difficult situation. And I wonder if there is a correlation between INTJs and anxiety. So I've done some research, very base level research, and I haven't come up with a ton of information on it. But there does seem to be a link with NTs and the potential for having anxiety or depression, depending on what your situation is. So I wanted to get this video out because I'm interested to hear if there's other people that have this situation in their own lives where their thinking becomes almost overwhelming and turns into a flood of anxiety, and also how they cope. So comments are great on this one because if you feel this way, other people do as well. So for myself, I cope by, first of all, I had to end up biting the bullet and doing medication. And I want to make sure that the stigma is being reduced on this whole front of taking care of yourself in whatever way you need to take care of yourself. So like I've mentioned before, I do a lot of self practice on meditation or yoga, or a lot of, I mean, MBTI is another perfect example, is understanding yourself. So you're not wondering and observing this and wondering what's happening in your own personality. So on top of all of that, you, depending on the critical situation that you're in, for myself, I had to go and take medication, which was actually a lifesaver. I hated it at first, and then after the doctor urged me to keep going, and it turned out to be a lifesaver. And anyways, I want to hear what other people have to say. It's going to be interesting because this is quite a personal topic. But anyways, I wanted to get that one out before, again, my family gets home. Thanks.